All right, guys, well, let's talk about the 5 milestones you must hit in order to retire. And guess what? It's not what you've been told. There's a lot more to it. So you're going to get the truth without the hype today about these 5 things. I know this list is going to be a little bit different than other people's list out there, but these I feel are critical milestones that you have to hit, that you have to have in place before you retire in order to have that successful retirement that we all want to have. That's the goal in the end, right? You want to hit that financial freedom. You want to retire earlier. You want to retire at all. If you don't have these in place, it is going to make that retirement miserable if you're even able to do it at all, which a lot of folks figure out they can't actually do it. So number one is to get healthy. Now, look, I know a lot of folks say, hey, I'm going to retire, then I'll focus on my health. I'll have the time to do that. I'll be able to do that. And the reality is, and the statistics show, it's just not true. It's a habit that you have to build ahead of time. You have to clean up your diet ahead of time. You have to start out a workout regimen ahead of time. And more importantly, let's say you're 10 years away from retirement. It's much better to start right now and get yourself healthy and put yourself in a much better spot 10 years from now than to start 10 years from now where you're already 10 more years behind the curve. You're 10 years older. And as we all know, man, it was a heck of a lot easier to get in shape when I was 20, much less when I was 30. Now I'm in my late 40s, and I'm so glad I'm not starting right now because this would be a lot harder than it was a few years ago, or even just a short 5 years ago or so. It's definitely harder now, much less at, 55 or 65, like a lot of folks are looking at now. The earlier you do it, the earlier you focus on getting healthy, getting your diet right, getting yourself, stretchable, mobility, working out, getting that cardio up, getting your heart healthy, everything else healthy, the better off you will be in retirement, the better off you will enjoy your retirement and the higher quality retirement you have. But a big mistake people make is, oh yeah, I'll focus on that whenever I have time in retirement. And the reality is you're just making it harder on yourself. And the statistics show that you're not going to actually do it. Even if you have the best intentions, I'm sorry, you're just not going to do it. If you don't have the discipline now, you're not going to have it later on, even when you have more time. Number two, do the actual math. I am still shocked that I talk with folks all the time and they have not done the actual math for retirement. They may have a nice nest egg. They may have $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, whatever the number is, but they haven't actually done the math to, exactly what is needed in order for them to retire. They don't know what the retirement number is. They haven't put math to how much money are they going to need over the next, 20 years, let's say if they're 65, or let's say they're younger and they want to retire early. They haven't actually done the math. They just have it says you need $1.2 million in order to retire comfortably. That's useless. Absolutely useless. Depends upon where you live, how much debt you have, how much healthcare you have, how much you're going to travel, what is your lifestyle, how you want to live, where you're going to live, right? We talk about that in the blacklist all the time, that a lot of times that's kind of the cheat code, is to move some other place and live well on a lot less money. But yet you have folks who want to live in a high cost of living area, but yet they think $1.2 million is going to cut it, when the reality is it's not going to cut anything. It gets them 5 or 10 years into retirement. And then at that stage, they're broke again and they have to go back to work. Doing the actual math and getting your actual number to retire, regardless of whether that's a set lump sum or whether that's a cash flow number that's coming in every month in order to fund your retirement. A lot of different ways to do it, but you have to do the math and have an actual number, not just, well, I kind of think this, or well, I kind of think that. No, you're setting yourself up for failure in the end. And to me, you're not ready to retire if you don't have that number, because you have no clue as to whether you need more money or less money, whether you need to make large changes to your lifestyle or very small changes to your lifestyle. You can't know that until you do the math. Number three, know exactly how you will fund it. Again, this is almost the same as question number two. I will sit down with folks and go, great, you want to retire on X day. You want to retire with X amount. Now, how are you going to fund that retirement? What is it going to be? Is it going to be, you're going to fund it straight up out of your, 401k or out of your stocks? You're just going to sell off stocks, in perpetuity, using the 4% rule, 6% rule, whatever rule you want to use in retirement. Are you planning on buying dividend stocks and living off those dividends? Do you plan on buying investment income, real estate over here and having that pay you? What type of real estate are you going to buy in what part of the country or in what part of the world? How are you going to actually fund your retirement? Just having a number is not enough. You've got to understand the mechanics of and do the math on how you're going to fund it. There's a lot of different options out there. One of the reasons why I lean so heavily on real estate is because of the tax advantages. Take into account your taxes. Guess what? Not everything is tax-free. Not everything is coming out of your account and going to fund everything. You have to account for taxes as well. There's a lot of different components to this that all come down to how are you going to fund it, and the different ways of funding it all carry different tax implications. And you have to understand those in order to understand what your retirement actually looks like. If you don't know that and you haven't done the math on that, and you haven't made that decision, you are not ready to retire. Number 4, eliminate debt. All right, so I'm gonna caveat this one with, you need to know the difference between good debt and bad debt. And what I mean by that is bad debt takes money out of your pocket. That'd be cars, credit cards, mortgages that don't pay you. If you're not house hacking, your mortgage isn't paying you. I'm sorry. It's just not. Money is coming out of your pocket every day. A good debt is debt that's out there, smartly leveraged at a very low risk in terms of leverage, and it's putting money in your pocket, such as rental income real estate, for example. Whether that be through Airbnb, whether that be long-term buy and hold, whether that be through self-storage or mobile home parks or apartment buildings or whatever you choose to use at that particular stage, they're all going to use debt of some sort. That's not the debt necessarily I'm talking about paying off. Now, you can pay that off and have that extra layer of cushion there, but at least here in the US in a debt-based society, there's some advantages to that. There's some tax advantages to that. But most people carry bad debt that comes out of their pocket, credit cards, cars, their mortgage, all those sort of things like that. And I'm sorry, you're probably not ready to retire if you don't have those eliminated. I know that's a harsh truth, and maybe you can do the math and maybe you have enough in investments and stocks and other things of that nature to pay for it. But if I were you, I'd work on getting that paid off as quickly as possible, because that's one of the things that gets retirees in trouble and unfortunately forces them to go back to work is the debt load that they're carrying. I know you want to help out your grandkids and your kids and everybody else like that, but taking on student loan debt for them is not exactly the best plan either. Again, view debt this way. If it puts money in your pocket, I can make a case that it's good debt. If money comes out of your pocket in order to pay for it, it is bad debt, period. And for me, to put yourself in the best spot to win and have a great retirement is eliminating all of that bad debt. And the final one is know exactly what you will do in retirement. This is probably the single most critical mistake I see outside of not planning, not knowing your numbers, so therefore you can never retire. Outside of never being able to retire, somebody who actually does everything else right, but doesn't get this one right, creates the biggest disaster in retirement. I am shocked by how many folks do not know what they actually want to do in retirement. You talk to them, oh, we're going to travel. Great. Where are you going to travel to? What are you going to do? And when it comes down to actually retiring, what ends up happening is, well, one spouse thought this, the other spouse thought that. And what ends up happening, you end up doing what most retirees do statistically, and that is watching TV and really going nowhere. And in some cases, people go back to work because they're simply bored. That's, a sad reality for a lot of folks who actually achieve the dream. They actually get there, which is rare in today's society. Most people are working because they have to, but they don't have to, but they just go back to work because they're bored, because they have nothing else going on, because they had plans, quote unquote, for retirement, but they didn't actually take the steps. They didn't actually do the things to put it in place. They never actually communicated with their spouse in the first place what they're actually going to do. It was always just, I'm dreaming about this. Well, I'm dreaming about that. Oh yeah, we'll figure it out in retirement. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out then. That is the surefire way to end up with a disaster in your retirement years. So to me, you need to have that milestone already achieved, already have that plan in place. So when that day comes, you guys are hitting the ground from day one and enjoying that retirement. And if you want a complete blueprint on how to go from zero to financially free and retired in as little as 1 year and on as little money as $300,000, we have a complete system that takes you step by step through all of it. Exactly how to do it, exactly what to buy, exactly what assets to own, exactly how to take stock of what you have. And maybe that means retiring overseas. You can actually do it right there in your own city today. It just means you have to make changes. The Blacklist lays all of it out for you. And of course, I am there with you to help you every single step of the way as well. Check it out. It's the pinned comment down there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.